back, baby. Proud of the boys. Never believed in them, and not even once. We're back with the Strompcast, just the two of us today. Chris and I holding it down. Chris, 1-1 draw was just barely enough to get the boys through. How you feeling today?
Well, first off, I hope Sam. Honestly, not the greatest game for Sam to be at.
Go to no,
but it was raining. And here's the thing:
we mustn't forget it was raining.
I can't wait to hear about it when he's back. But he was in like probably the first 10 rows, which if you're going to get rained on at Alvalade, it's maybe only in the first like 5 to 10 rows.
Yeah.
So, we had 37K. So if he was in the slight drip zone, he could have maybe found another seat.
He could have shuffled around.
Because it was not a full house tonight, and you could tell visually that it was not a full house.
They also had like fan restrictions.
We could talk about the corporate banner, the corporate scolding banner.
What did it say? I couldn't quite make it out.
It said, "Don't hurt your team."
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was. I knew. I saw something
by doing pyro to cause a fine, which will hurt.
Implied. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I couldn't quite make it out because it was a fuzzy picture that I saw. I'm like, okay, it's something to keep. Like,
yeah.
It said no. Yeah.
Back to the game. It sucked. It sucked. There's no other way to put it. It sucked, but got the job done. And we said, beginning top 24. We got 23rd. We did it.
We predicted that as well, by the way. I think at the start, we're like, they're probably going to finish like 23rd.
Yeah.
If you go back,
we got to go back. Yeah, because I do think that we said something very similar to that.
Yeah.
Got the job done. Barely. I honestly was really thinking that we weren't going to get the job done. No. I was actually praying that the out-of-town scoreboard was going to save us.
Yeah,
and then
when you get to that territory,
first 45 through 65 minutes, the out-of-town scoreboard was valid. Yeah, and then about the 70th minute, the out-of-town scoreboard fucked us. Two of the three results turned at roughly the same time, and all of a sudden we were out. And I was like, okay, well, we have to score. We're out. There's no way we're gonna score.
And they score,
but they score.
barely score.
Yeah,
we're gonna get into it. We're gonna just throw up the goal point right now in 2 seconds. Yeah, when you start getting into the out of town scores, that's not a good place to be and not a good feeling at all. So the lineup, where it's following, zoom in a little bit, was Franco Israel and net, defense of Maxi Arujo, Gonzalo Ignacio, Diamande, and Fresneda, midfield of Hulman, Braganza, and De Bas. Lord help us. And then kind of a forward three of Trincão, Jenny, and Conrad Harder, who actually got the game-tying goal. Substitutes were João Simões, Giovanni Kenda, and Mateus Reis. This was a game. This was one of the games of all time.
It was a heavily rotated Bologna squad.
Yeah,
not playing for anything.
Zero
other than spending money, right? That's all they're playing for.
Zero to play for.
They've been to Lisbon. This is actually, I think they second time they traveled to Lisbon for the Champions League, which is the odds of that I feel like are kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But the game itself, like it kind of, I want to unfortunately say it was a bit of a carryover from the weekend, in the sense that there was just like not a whole lot of ideas.
Not a lot of ideas and not a lot of energy either.
I would say the main difference was these were obviously a bit more, competent, able to hit us, punish us for that in a way that Nacional simply wasn't. Yeah. So against Nacional, we just keep the ball all day and not do anything. And they can't really carve anything out either. But these, if you just kind of
these lot have got some quality.
You fuck around, you give up counters, etc. It's like, yeah, they can do something. And honestly, they had the better chances. I
Yeah,
feel like.
yeah,
I'm actually a bit surprised to see that their XG is only 1.1 because I
yeah.
mean there was the one like the ball kind of like fell on the bounce to the dude like about 12 yards out, and he hits it on the one hop and it just skips wide. Like
Yeah, there's the
I
one that
I
forces
thought that was
Israel to.
in.
There's
I
one
thought
where
that was in
Israel
for
has to
sure.
make a really good save and I believe it was the second half.
Yeah, there's like
Um,
2 or 3 that Israel has to get down to save.
mhm.
I mean, I guess maybe now that I think about it, they didn't have like so many chances.
It just felt like
They
their
they
chances were a
definitely
bit
had
more
like
dangerous.
4 big shots on the net though,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I would
which
say that.
feels like more than we had.
Yeah, I'm surprised that our XG expected by whom you say being as high as it was because it didn't feel like we were that threatening at any real given time during this game. Like when we were like, oh crap, now they have to score a goal. We were all kind of just like, oh, they just don't look like they're going to score today. It just feels like one of those games where they're kind of just out of ideas, out of creativity. Uh, thankful they proved us wrong. Very thankful they proved us wrong. No real standouts for me, like watching this game. Like,
What do you make of like? I guess he officially just has a new position now, DeBast. I mean, he just plays in the middle now. I guess.
better this game than
Yeah.
I would say in previous games where they've experimented with him at CDM.
I just have
Still not
I
great.
have a really bad feeling, to be honest. And
Yeah, it wasn't
I've
great.
kind
It
of
was
had a really
better, but
bad feeling when he was just not convincing anyone in preseason,
yeah.
beginning of the season, preseason even.
Mhm.
And it was just like, oh, he'll get better.
No,
Dude, he costs a
he's
lot
been
of
he's
money.
been he's not
I mean,
been
he's been a
unplayable.
starter for the Belgian national. I mean,
Yeah,
I know he has played a lot better, like as recently as like a year ago, 9 months ago. But like,
yeah.
bro, he just like
He's not
hasn't
been unplayable. Like I
he
don't think he's
hasn't
not
been
been bad. It's just
he's had really bad moments,
mhm.
but overall he has not been unplayable. He's
No.
been decent enough to be playable, but he certainly has not lived up to any sort of potential hype, you know,
The
clear
expectations I don't think
starter. We're
have
looking
been
at
met
maybe a
yet.
future captain of this club in a couple years. He was the captain of Anderlecht at like
At like
20,
18 or 19, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, we're looking at, maybe future captain here. It's just not. It's been a really tough season for him,
Mhm.
and I
No,
don't.
he's young,
Yeah, I
right?
don't
Like he's
really
a young
know
guy.
what the future holds. To be
Yeah.
quite honest.
Yeah, I would kind of agree with you. Like he's not been, oh my god, objectively bad. What a waste of money. Like nowhere close to that. But yeah, I think when he's made mistakes, it's come at the worst times, which I think just magnifies it. I thought this game at CDM, he looked better than he kind of had in previous games at times. Again, but he wasn't outstanding, I would say. I think 6.2 is a 6.2 is a little generous
I
for
think
him
he
on
just
today.
he kept possession a lot.
Yeah.
He moved the
Yeah.
ball well. Yeah, he wasn't trying to think of ways he might have like upped
His game.
his stats.
With passes. Did he
Spam
spam a lot of simple
spam
passes?
24 in there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he definitely had a high completion percentage. Braganza, I noticeably was not good, and I would say
No,
his
not today.
score reflects that as well,
Mhm.
especially in comparison to the other midfielders.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. I don't think it was Braganza's best game. I thought Diomande was okay this game. I think
Good
Israel when he
Diamande
was
game.
yeah, I think Israel even when called upon was okay, but I still think this is Rui Silva's goal moving forward. Um,
Who, by the way, we talked last pod.
yeah,
Hopefully he faces a shot. Literally, still hasn't faced a
hasn't
shot.
faced a shot.
Maybe in the
Really,
third game he'll face a
third
shot.
time's a charm.
I
Third
guess if
time's a
he
charm,
doesn't,
gang.
it's fine. If he doesn't, I
Like
suppose.
it
But
shows our defense is doing their job for sure. Um, average Fresneda game for me. Average Jenny game for me. Again, a down
he's
Trincao
another
game
one. He is in the exact. Honestly, he's in a very similar
to
situation to
DeBast.
DeBast, where it's like
He's okay, but he's not
He's
outstanding.
okay. We could slot him in. We spend a lot of money, so we kind of gotta play him.
Yeah.
He's not the worst player I've ever seen. He does some stuff sometimes, like
that's just it. He's in that
it's
territory.
a really tough situation, and it would be awesome. It'd be awesome. Like, let's go, Zeno. Like, to build on this. Let's have a great month. Let's get back into form.
Start feeling yourself.
It could still happen any moment, but
yeah.
it just hasn't happened yet. And you could even, I guess, Fresneda has been on a slow ascent, because the fact that he's even on the field,
where he was at the beginning,
he's on the field,
of the season,
which is that's not where he was before,
Yeah, from where he was even 2-3 months ago to now is such an improvement. Like, just status wise and everything.
Yeah, and so, which is he also kind of there because there's not really anybody else? Kind of
a little bit.
But
a little bit.
You take opportunities that come your way,
You got you miss 100%
again,
shots you don't take.
Hopefully he builds on it, gets a couple good games in a row, maybe he gets an assist or two, maybe bags a goal outside the box.
Makes a couple really good defensive plays. Like,
all of a sudden he's like in pretty good form. It could happen.
He's feeling himself,
I just don't feel that great about it happening based on, the sample size up till this point, couple months of being a semi-regular.
Yeah, I think based on just what we've seen from those two, I think you've seen flashes of, okay, there is a bit of a player there, but then you're seeing kind of the mistakes and everything that kind of comes with a young player, and you're like, oh, but like, you're just kind of a guy right now. Like, you've not done anything really outstanding to impress
me. To be fair, they both are still very young.
They're super young. They're both like 19 or whatever. Like, they're so young in the context of football. Like, they are literal children in some places of the world. So yeah, like there's.
But at the same time, it's like we need bodies now.
We need you now, right? They've gotten through kind of the hellscape that we knew was going to be January at least. Relatively tame. Like, we'll get into standings and stuff in a moment. I don't really have a man of the match for this. I guess I'll give it to Harder just for the fact that
what do we make it that finish? I think he tries to flick it behind his other leg, and it hits his other leg.
I think it just kind of
puts the goalie off enough. He kind of actually probably slightly helped himself by deflecting his own shot because it kind of misdirected the ball, and it still had enough power to make it over the goal line. He definitely took some sting out of it, but not enough.
Well, it didn't
slow it down enough.
It didn't hit the back of the net, I don't think.
No, it rolled in. It rolled in over the line.
Yeah.
But someone needed to do it, right? It's a great run. It's a great run from João Simões.
No Jokeres today, so someone had to step up. So
João Simões got the ball in his own half.
Yeah. Good João Simões game.
Dribbled with the ball. Made a pass, got it back, dribbled some more, made a pass, got it back, crossed it through somebody's legs. Harder does the flumpty flump, and it goes in. So a lot of that goal is João Simões as well, who I agree. He's my man of the match. I'll agree with goal point here in only 45 minutes.
Yeah, that's a good shout actually. Yeah, it was a very good João Simões cameo today. I thought he was great. So we will move on to the Champions League brackets in a moment. I'm gonna pull those up. Those are on Twitter.
Is it it's completely out? There's no draws anymore. Or there's a whole bracket.
I don't know if there's a draw or not. This is what I'm gathering from it. So one sec, I'm gonna present, and somebody in the comments, feel free to let us know what's
the format. Is it 2 legs the rest?
It's 2 legs. It's still 2 legs.
Okay.
So right now, I don't know how well people can see this.
Yeah, I would zoom in a little bit. Okay, yeah, that's good.
Okay, so it looks like these are going to be kind of the matchups. Will be like one of these teams. So it looks like we'll get one of Atlanta or Dortmund.
Wait, why do we not know?
That's what I'm confused. That's what I'm confused about. So if someone in the comments knows, so it's Miguel Garcia. I wonder if that's the Miguel Garcia. says we get Atalanta. So I think there is still a draw, but it's like you're going to get one of these two
That's
teams,
crazy.
which is psychotic. But you know what?
So wait,
They've ended up on, but then you know what? They've ended up on a good side of the bracket because look at the teams: PSG or Benfica, Monaco versus Brest,
and then the winner of our
will
games will
Lille
play
or
each other.
Villa.
No,
I assumed it was one of Lille or Aston Villa they'd be playing.
So let's just say we get Atalanta. That means Bruges gets Dortmund.
Yes.
And then the winners of both of those games will either play Lille or
Aston Villa.
I see. So it's like a baby draw.
It's like a baby draw for the first round.
Yeah. And then we'll have a draw again.
And then it's straight bracket after.
Well, let's just say we beat Atalanta, right? Well, how will we know if we get Lille or Aston Villa?
I think that's what they're gonna draw.
They'll do it all at once.
They'll do it all at once, I think. So it's one straight bracket throughout. So, okay, we know that Aston Villa will get one. I think that's how it works.
I mean, I guess it could be worse, right? I mean, it's not easy. It's not easy. Lille and Aston Villa are in
the hardest teams on the side of the bracket. I mean, I'm not going to say because Lille we beat.
I think Lille beat Aston. No, did they play it? No,
they
didn't play today. They both won today, though.
Yeah. Lille's a team that if they get Lille, you would feel if they
we already beat them, but that was probably one of their worst games of the season was when we beat them.
But I'm saying I think that's an okay draw. I think when they played Atalanta last year, every game was close.
Yeah,
every game was close. We lost to the eventual Europa League champions. Like could have probably been us.
And kind of went outside if we're being honest.
Yeah, like they. Especially in that second leg, they had our number all season. They had our number in the groups, and they had our number in the.
We played them 4 times, right?
We played them 4 times. We played them in the groups. We played them in the round of 16. So, but we played them hard every game. Every game was like a 1-goal game or a tie. So you'd feel confident with them. I think Dortmund. They've
tough season for Dortmund. I'll take Dortmund right now. I'm not scared of Dortmund right now.
Tough season for sure for Dortmund domestically, absolutely. So I imagine. So I wouldn't hate.
I'd rather play Dortmund than Real Madrid, for example.
Look at this other side of the bracket. This is all killers. Real Madrid,
who's one seed lower. That's a 10 seed versus an 11 seed.
Yeah. Manchester City, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Juventus, Milan, PSV. 5. This is killers all on this side of the bracket. And then you come here, and it's.
We have Monaco, Brest. What is that? The French quarter up there.
That's the one. That's the one thing about this particular format is you get a lot of interesting. These are a lot of interesting matchups that you're going to get to see.
Never mind, actually.
So Monaco or Brest could probably get an all French
first round draw either. I suppose one of those French teams, Monaco or Brest.
Well, they'll probably get one of them. Will get PSG. It looks like.
Yeah.
So you get an all French.
Is there no country restrictions?
That's crazy. They removed that.
We could have played
Benfica hypothetically.
Yeah, that would have been fucking crazy.
That would have been nuts.
I guess we still can.
They still could in this they're on the
semis.
That would be the only time for it to really happen. But yeah, interesting. I think that's one of the things, and we asked for this from the Champions League is we wanted more variety. I think the chaos that we kind of wanted and lived for.
I mean, the whole thing has been chaotic. Clear.
Every game.
Final day ended up being a little crazy. We ended up being
who had an 18-game parlay.
We fucked over Dinamo Zagreb, which I apologize for on the Twitter account.
Yeah, sorry, Dinamo
I'm
fans.
sorry. That's tough. I mean, you hate to do it to them.
It had to be somebody. Somebody
had to be somebody. It would have been much better if it was, for example, Manchester City. But Dinamo and there's no Europa League consolation. They're just
which is kind of another fun thing, right?
Which is what I was thinking. I'm looking at this game 70th minute. I'm like, well, there goes Europe. Wow, what a fucking waste all of that was.
Exactly. Then they would just have the league in the cup.
We beat Man City 4-1. We were in the top 8, and then we just fucked off. And now we have nothing.
You do wonder, and we'll get into this now. I'm going to stop the screen share. You do wonder if had Ruben Amorim not left, and was still the coach, or B, had they not gone with João Pereira, maybe gone with like a Rui Borges or someone more
Just initially.
experienced initially,
Yeah.
would we have had this nail biter of a day today? Because my gut feeling says no, they probably would have already clinched by now. They probably still, I think they still drop points at some point. Absolutely. I'm not saying they would have won.
I mean, if we were on 10 points today, we would have been chill, a lot chiller.
Yeah. If they had, let's say they still lose the
Or
Arsenal
11.
game.
Now, let's just say the Club
Let's say they
Brugge
lose.
game
Let's say
is
they
a
lose
win.
the Arsenal game and they draw the last two games.
Yeah.
Even before today. That's still
Yeah.
2 more points than what they ended up with. Or 2 more points than what they had going into today.
Going in, which was 8, so we'd have 10.
Yeah. So you would have felt a bit more comfortable. Hey, who say they don't win one of those other games, right? Like you'd have it's a whole different conversation. I think Ruben Amorim has a little bit of blood on his hands. I don't want to be that guy, but like, man, you look at the drop.
If he ends up like not surviving the season at Man U,
it's gonna look so bad.
He's gonna look like he fucked up so bad.
especially if Sporting does win trophies or does manage to make a run here.
Yeah.
Like if they like if they do one or both those things, like let's say they go to the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Just as a dream scenario, it'd be nice. Let's say they win.
I mean, now that I'm thinking, a Europa League run is actually one of the few fucking things that he can do to save his ass this season.
Yeah, that's really.
But I don't believe in that's gonna happen.
I don't see it with that team as it's constructed,
maybe.
Right?
I mean, all you got first, you got to be there, which they are. So
you got to be there, but that's the thing. You do wonder if Sporting goes on to win or have any success in the Champions League and domestically and everything. And then he continues to have a very tough time at United. You're gonna wonder, man, what would have happened if he had stayed? Like, would the results have been the same? Would the results have been drastically different one way or the other? Like, we'll never know.
We'll never know.
That's what sucks.
We'll see what jobs open this summer.
Yeah.
Maybe Pep's out because
maybe Pep leaves.
This season was so fucked up, and maybe the City job would have been open, which. I mean,
would have been
was a better,
more
appealing opening.
Appealing one for sure. It's
way
better run.
No one thought the Man U opening was like that particularly attractive. The most attractive part of it is the name.
Man United. That's it. It's
the name and the check, right?
It's the name and the check, but it's like, man, you really couldn't wait. Another 5 months.
It's tough to predict the future. And it's always hindsight's always 2020. You see it when guys are running for president, like, my time is now. I gotta go.
And then it's like,
maybe they could have waited. And it's like, no, it's not. It wasn't your time. And now you cooked yourself for the future, too. Maybe you should have waited. It's like, it's easier to see the past.
Yeah.
Happen, right?
You just, I feel like for a lot of Sporting fans, before we get into the next game, I feel like this is going to be a bit of a season like, man, what if?
Yeah.
And I hate that. We're gonna be like, what if he stayed? This is gonna be my Kawhi Leonard if he stayed in Toronto.
I think there's too many what ifs because I think the problem with the what ifs, at least in the league, I think in Europe it's fair, but in the league it's like everyone just keeps fucking up so many times.
That's just it.
It's gonna be tough to zero in on like 1 or 2 specific fuck ups because at this point it's like the others have just kind of like the gap that João Pereira allowed to close
is opened back up again.
It's just opened back up again.
And now you wonder, but you know what you wonder too?
Oh, could it just be wrapped? Could it have
just been wrapped by March?
And we're up by double-digit points right now.
If they drop like 8 points or something crazy in the league with João Pereira, if they keep 5 or 6 of those, the 6-point lead they have now is like 10, 11 points.
Yeah,
like they could have sat there and been big chilling for the last like 8 months.
Right? It's still January, but like you're feeling
no means is it over.
You're feeling pretty good. You're feeling pretty good.
Way too much. Like we're gonna get in the standings. There's way too much football left to play for sure. I'm gonna get into the Nacional game momentarily. Let me pull up goal point because that is gospel around these parts. For those of you who don't know.
Always.
And the lineups were as follows. Get that going, was Rui Silva in goal, Diomande and Inacio center backs, Fresneda, Maxi Arujo fullbacks. Midfield was Morita, Hillman, and Bragança. So the only change was Debas today in the midfield. Kenda and Trincão, the wingers. Jokeres up front. We got goals from Trincão and substitute João Simões, his first as a Lion for the main team anyways. Other subs included Jenny, Debas, Mateus Reis, and Conrad Harder. Goal Point gave their man of the match to Trincão. Chris, I'll throw it to you.
João Simões got, again, our man of the match, my man of the match last game.
He gets to this game a little bit.
He got a 6.2, bagged a goal, and that was all in like probably 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's crazy. Good for him. Like he is slowly starting to show like, hey,
yeah, he really is.
Here.
I
like,
was totally not sure at first. Thought it might have been too soon. They needed a body. They had a lot of injuries, suspensions. Needed a guy. Also, it worked out for him because his old coach became the first team coach and was very familiar with him.
Yeah.
Felt a lot more comfortable just slotting him in because he's like, I know this player. And he's built off of it. Who knows where he could go now? You know, the sky is the limit now, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's been such a pleasant surprise watching him kind of grow, and you can see him getting a bit more comfortable each time he's on the field with each passing game, which I think is awesome. This game, it felt like if they didn't score a goal by halftime, it was a danger of they're going to just draw this game 0-0.
This game was
because Nacional was playing peak terrible.
And even when we're in the doldrums of nothingness, is 1-0. It's the 70th minute.
You're like,
we're just passing it around. They've yet to even like step foot in our 18. All it takes
is one
fucking just insane curving shot that some dude just
takes one dude to turn into prime Messi, or some dude to turn into Paul Scholes.
Corner kick that they just get a set piece. Like it is not secure. I feel very comfortable, but also like I feel like restless, you know.
Back of your mind, you're like, please go.
I'm just like, look, the clock's not moving fast enough.
Yeah,
like you just want this to end. It's like either score a second or an end.
It's like
no one's doing anything, so
it's like watching a hockey game when the opposing team has an empty net with like a minute left, and you're like, I just need to get past this minute.
Yeah.
But it was like I need to get past these like 15-20 minutes. That was the problem. Like 1-0, I didn't feel uncomfortable per se.
And we did it. They had one shot and it literally came from a turnover off of a goal kick.
Yeah.
Like that's just giving the game away.
It was letting them. It was a chance to let them back in the game.
And it's like that was literally like textbook how you tie this game, and they have one shot.
Yeah, a silly mistake in your own defensive end almost let them back in the game. Now the shot petered out well wide and everything, but it's the point of they're up 1-0. You're like, okay, you're up 1-0. They're not really.
We're still scrambling across his goal. Maybe if it's on target, it sneaks in.
Who knows? It might sneak into that corner, like. But that's the point. It's like you're up 1-0. Yeah, you're not feeling like anxious, but it's like I'd feel more comfortable if you just got another just to be safe. And then they go and do that, and it's like,
they did. And also, it must be said, like we were struggling to break them down.
They were well organized.
And the goal that brought us to that 1-0 lead, that in the first half took us 43 minutes to achieve. Was an absolute banger, possible goal of the season.
Yeah.
So like that's what it took to break them down.
To break them down was
a potential goal of the season candidate. Yeah.
Yeah. Like a highlight reel worthy goal. I want to shout out. This isn't really this game because I meant to shout out earlier. Shout out to the Bologna coach Vincenzo Italiano. His name is Vinny Italy.
Dude, he was. Name. Did you see him pull like Conceição after the game and start freaking out on his own player?
I was like, yo, he's gonna like hit somebody.
Yeah, he was like really aggressively, and then his assistant was like trying to pull him away.
Yeah, real aggressive, like handshake and like pat on the back.
All right, bro, that's enough.
Yeah, like really aggressive handshake, really aggressive, like good job. Pat on the
Also,
back,
dude,
like,
Sergio Conceição, like he is
psycho.
such a fucking dick. Because Sporting finished earlier, and like
Yes.
the TV just flipped to like the last 3 minutes of that game because it was still
Yeah.
going on.
Mhm.
They lose to Dinamo Zagreb.
Yeah,
It's like, bro,
you're in. Like, relax.
you're in.
but-
Like his handshake was so disrespectful to the
and
Dinamo Zagreb
aggressive.
manager. I was like, bro, what is wrong
Your
with you,
deal?
man?
What is your
You're just
deal?
a fucking maniac.
He's-
Like, I
he needs to
respect
go to
you, bro.
classes.
I totally respect you and your achievements and your philosophy, but like, dude, you are
Take it down a
truly
notch.
unhinged, bro.
You're up here all the time. You need to be like here,
Yeah.
somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you need to be like here, but you got to like take her down a couple notches, Big Serge.
Yeah.
Back to this game. I needed to mention
The
that.
Sergio Conceição
Well, I
tangent.
needed to mention that because I realized the guy's name was Vincenzo Italiano, which literally just translates to Vinny Italy, which is a sick name. That's like an AI generated name.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to this game. To your point, yeah, Nacional was stubborn on defense. Like you said, it took a crazy goal from Trincão to break the deadlock a little before halftime. And then even in the second half, like
Much of the
outside
same.
of a couple chances, like much of the same.
A
Like,
bit more.
a bit like they were still getting kind of closer in goal. There was a couple more dangerous crosses for sure. But again, it felt like a more of the same for the most part. Like, okay, they're kind of pressing a bit more, but they're still not quite getting anybody on the end of it, or when they do, there's no end product. Like, that's what it kind of felt like. But we'll take a win, 2-0 win. Considering the other results of the weekend, I think we are very happy we just walked away with a win, because we're about to get into some standings in a minute. Who was your man of the match for this one? Mine was Trincão, but my runner-up was João Simões.
There's a couple candidates, I would say.
A few guys. Yeah.
There's a few candidates. I'm gonna go with Diamande. I feel like he could have maybe gotten it last game, and he had another strong game. He's been in great form. So I'm kind of giving him just an accumulation one because he deserves it.
That's fair. I'll give you
and
that one.
He did have a good game.
Yeah. We will get into standings in a second.
Goal coming soon.
Goal incoming. But we do have some updates to league predictions. So we get into, first of all, the Nacional game. Huge.
Let's pull up the Portuguese league standings as well after this.
That's exactly what I'm going to do. That's my next tab over.
Okay.
So we have Chris getting the exact score line of 2-0. Good on you. You didn't have the goal scorers, but you had the score line. So you get a point for the win.
Scores.
You get 2 points for the
Start chipping away. I'm coming back. I got 14 weeks.
When we get to the game today, you'll see why. Sam was a little too optimistic with his, but he gets a point for the win. I end up getting a point just for the win. Danny gets a goal score and the win as well. But if we move on to the
that's a sad one from Vacation Man. 6-0 for 1 point.
Yeah,
come on, Vacation.
If we get into today's game, Sam, no points, no.
Come on, Vacation Man.
Richard Neves, no points. Chris Oliveira, 3 points again, though. He gets the exact score line 2
That's
games
right.
in a row.
Because no one else, I don't think anyone else had a draw, right?
None of us had a draw. Danny had 3-1. Jokeris Trincão. Huge 6 points from Chris Oliveira to put him back into second.
Exactly what we needed.
You gained a bunch of points. You leapfrogged both guys this past week, and you've caught up a little bit to me. You still got a ways to go.
Now we keep building. We keep building.
Hey, you gotta go somewhere. You gotta start somewhere, right? Like two big monster. If you had capitalized on the weeks where none of us.
I know. I'm gonna come to regret that. Yeah,
those 2 games. Even I forgot, and it led to nothing. No one picked up on it.
Holiday hangover.
Yeah, I'll get your predictions for the next game, which is against Firenze this weekend.
So Sunday, if I'm not mistaken.
It is a Sunday game, if I'm not mistaken. I can double check for you in 2 seconds, but I do believe that is
Sunday on the East Coast. It looks like so a bit earlier. 6.
Yes,
Sunday,
early.
6 p.m.
Early start on Sunday. I'm not complaining. I love mid-afternoon football.
It is a rare weekend with no American football on a Sunday.
No, I know. That's why I'm kind of like not upset about the 1 o'clock start because we've got the U.S. We've got American football not going on this week. So, what are your predictions? And then once we do that, we will get into the Liga Portugal standings and all the news and notes from there.
Farense has been in a bit of a tough
stretch, I would say.
A tough stretch for sure. We've obviously been in, I wouldn't say a tough stretch, but our last couple games, we've certainly had difficulty creating and scoring chances.
Yeah.
Our best player and goal machine is scaring me with his health condition.
Yeah.
He truthfully probably shouldn't play this weekend.
I don't think he's going to. I think it's confirmed he's missing this game.
Okay, because if he's
I'm fine with.
Like probably at least a couple weeks. We should be able to beat a relegation threatened team without you. If we truly are, a team that deserves to be champions.
Yeah. I'd rather him sit out this game, knowing that they don't have Europe next week.
Yeah, it's honestly
because look who comes right after that. So either I'm fine with him sitting out this game, take the week and a bit off, like chillax for a bit, get fit for the following weekend.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm not really feeling that great about a Sam scoreline, 4-6 nothing, something like that.
That's fair.
I'm gonna go 1-0, and it's gonna kind of not be that fun, but we're gonna get the job done in the end. Goal scored by Humeland.
All right.
With an emphatic celebration.
Yeah. I was going to go 2-0. And I was going to go to Trincão and Arujo. I never guess him, so let's have some fun. Let's get a little funky with it. But yeah, I think it's going to be a very close game. I think it's going to be like 1-2 goals max.
Talented shot stopper.
Good shot stopper. Someone that we have praised many a times on this show, I would say. So not an easy game for sure. I expect them to get frustrated either defensively or by the man in between the sticks, one way or the other. It's not going. The goals are not. I don't think are going to come easy this game. Farense is a capable team, and they have one of the better goalkeepers in the league for sure. So not an easy game.
They also need points, and a road shithouse probably sounds great to them.
They will take a 1-1 or a 0-0 draw happily. Yeah, and I wouldn't blame them in their more recent form. We move on to the league table, and boy, was it a weekend! It was one of the weekends to remember. So with Sporting's win and Benfica and Porto both dropping points in monumental fashion, a 6-point advantage has opened back up for Sporting.
Porto missed 2 penalties.
Wenderson Galeno missed 2 penalty kicks. That is astonishing to me. Benfica lost 3-1 to Casapia.
After being up 1-0 at halftime.
Porto has to come from behind to salvage a draw against Santa Clara. And really deserved to win that game. Like, they had so many chances to tie it and then go in the lead and put it away, and they just could not do it for the life of them. So yeah, 6-point lead has opened up for Sporting.
Don't look now, but Braga is now within touching distance
of Porto
of the 2 and 3 spot.
Shit, yeah, they're only 4 points off.
They've been in a little bit of a good run as well. So
they've had a good run.
The others fucking up has actually allowed them to get back in the picture.
A little bit, yeah. So Sporting opens up a 6-point lead this weekend, thanks to those results. And like we said,
you can actually see their recent form, right? Look at that, 9 points in the last 3. The others, not so much.
Not so much. Like 2 draws and 3 wins. and 2 wins, 3 losses, a draw, 2 losses, and 2 wins. Like,
Yikes.
and then you look at Braga, 4 wins out of 5.
I remember when we were doing that shit like a month ago.
Yeah. We used to be just like
back
you.
in the day.
Back in December, back in this time last month.
We'll probably do it again
Oh,
at
I'm
some
sure.
other point in this season.
Who knows? Yeah, right now, good position to be in. 2-game swing. Sporting also currently holds the tiebreakers on all of these teams. Braga, Porto, and Benfica, who are fighting for positions with wins against all of them. Now, they do have to play away from home at the Estádio de Luz. They have a game away from home at the Estádio de Dragão in a couple weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. So, big game there coming up. Could be a potential make it or break it game for Porto, especially for their title hopes, because you would think if they can't get a result there, you're heading into mid-February. At that point, you're going to be 8-9 points off. Not impossible, but it's a big ask, and you got to hope for a result. And now you're getting to you hope results start
you
going
don't control your own
on the other
destiny.
side. No,
yeah.
you can control what you can control, but you also need results to start going your way elsewhere. So those 2 teams, Benfica, Porto specifically, are going to have to figure it out. But it's nice. 6 points is nice. We'll take it, and it's like we were saying earlier.
It's 2 games.
It's 2-game swing.
2 full games.
Yeah, you got it. Like we said earlier, man. If they hadn't had the João Pereira month, would this be almost feel like, man, they just need to get through February and they're fine? Like it could have been. We did the math in the group chat. I think we calculated they could have been up by as many as, I think at most 15. And I think
maybe like 11.
No, more. We calculated.
No, I'm saying like if they like.
If they won all those games, if they win every game, that was
yeah.
the most. I'm not saying they would have. I think the most they could have done was like a 14 or 15 point advantage. And I think realistically, it could have probably been like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
Because they probably don't lose at least one game, and they probably maybe still draw a couple games, and maybe one of the games they lose, they still lose, or they draw. Like who knows? But yeah, you gotta wonder, like, could they have had things wrapped up by April, by March? Because it would have felt like that at that point. If you're 10, 15 points up with, at that point you start getting into 8 game to go, 9 game, 10 game to go territory. You're just like, we just got to not screw up. We just got to keep.
And then the pressure is on the others every week.
Yeah, every week, because
just
they
to
need
stay alive. Just to stay alive.
Just to keep hope, right? Like that's the thing. And like we've been in that position on the other side, right? Where we've been like, we got to get away. Okay, we won. Oh crap, they won that we didn't make up any ground. Okay,
we broke even this week. Try again next week.
Okay,
and then you run out of weeks.
Yeah, well, that's just it. You can run you've run out of time territory where it's okay. We got to win, and they drew, so that's 2 points. Okay, we both drew this week though. We couldn't capitalize and get another 2 points on them, right? Like we've been in that position too, where we've been chasing. So that's where Benfica and Porto have to be concerned about, is the chasing territory, because sooner or later you just start running into crunch time and it's hard. It's still early. We're only just past the halfway point of the season. We're 19 games about to go into the 20th game in. So there's still lots of time for this to change and to fluctuate. But it's I think Sporting fans will feel a lot more comfortable now than they did maybe a month or 2 ago. Certainly by Christmas, we were not feeling too hot.
We briefly were out at first. Yeah.
Yeah, we were briefly like, well, that's it. It's over.
Well, we'll never be in first again. Wow, we are somehow. What the fuck?
we were here on the show going banter errors in full swing, boys. We're back, baby.
Well, if they stubbornly would have stuck to the plan of we have to keep the boy Wonder,
I don't think we're having this. This is a much different conversation.
We're not. We're absolutely not having this conversation.
We're not. We're out of the
banter.
I think we're out of
the banter
Champions
era
League,
is back. Actually,
yeah, I think we're out of the Champions League. I think we're probably still in the cup, but then it's like, well, we're probably in third.
So your whole season's on a cup that you won't win. Nice.
Yeah, a cup that you probably won't.
You will lose the semifinals into Benfica.
No, they can't play Benfica till the final, I don't think.
Oh, are we on the side of the bracket where we get to play the fourth division team? Because isn't there a guaranteed fourth division team in the semi? Because they're playing each other in the quarter.
Yeah, there's 2 lower division teams, I think,
Yeah.
that have
So
to
if
play each
oh my
other.
god. So okay, maybe it's just you get to go to the final.
You get
That's
to go to
part of
the
the
final
playoff.
and lose to a rival again, maybe, who knows? Like, that's what they did last year, right?
Yeah.
They
Gyökeres leaves in January. He's not on
Yeah,
the team anymore.
God, it's
Who
over.
knows who else isn't on the team
Well,
anymore?
that's just it, right? So I think it's good that they
Reese
didn't
Silva's
stick
not
to
on the
that plan.
team.
Yeah, it's good that they didn't stick to that plan. I've been slowly more impressed with Rui Borges and the tactics. Um, it just, man, you got to wonder if they don't have that hellacious December, given all the circumstance, like what the mood would be and like what could have been.
But
That's
all things considered, even
we'll take where we
absorbing,
are right now.
we absorbed the month of December,
We took
and
a shot. We took shots from Mike Tyson, and we survived.
and we've
That's how I
emerged at the
feel.
end of January, still in
Good
fairly
position.
decent position.
You're still in. You're still in the Tossa. You know, you lose in the League Cup final in
But
what
just
was
like
really a war of attrition.
the worst thing that you could possibly do right now is go out there and lose to a terrible team
Hmm.
or draw even
Yeah,
to a terrible team at home. You let these teams who have just changed managers, they're in absolute shambles. The coach is having an audio leaked. It's
it's
absolutely
chaos. It's
it's
absolute chaos.
chaos behind the scenes in both of these clubs. Okay, now half those points are cut in half. You lose again. Okay, now they're just
It's done.
the title race is just even again. And
Yeah,
you've
that's
just
the thing. It's
allowed
all it
these
takes is a week.
guys in 2 weeks to completely come back.
Yeah, they
Um,
got to They got to get out of the next 2 weeks relatively unscathed.
so now it is in your control, but
It's in your
yeah,
hands.
like we just said, the job is not nearly done. It's what
No.
53% done. It's not
Yeah.
done yet.
Like they
Um,
win this week. I assume, everybody, unless they drop points, everyone will probably win this week, get back to their winning ways. Okay, it's still 6 points. You go away to Porto. That's not a guarantee, obviously. I would take a draw at Porto if it meant we didn't lose
fine
4
for
points.
us.
I'd take a draw for us. It would stink for them. It would help
Mhm.
Benfica more than anything because they could gain
Yeah,
as much as 2 points.
yeah.
Um, but that's the thing. Like you gotta win this game. These are the games
There's a
that
big one. There's a
count.
big one. It feels like a bit. We know we don't have our star
Our
man,
top
right?
scorer for
So
this
it's like
game.
we've obviously struggled the 2 games really without him, right?
A little bit, yeah, it showed.
He played it in the Nacional
The
game.
Nacional game, but you could tell he was just tired. I think it's just he's tired too. Like you could tell
Yeah.
he wasn't fully there.
Um. So yeah, it's like somebody's got to do it.
Yeah,
Who's it gonna be?
someone's gonna have to step up. Now, is Pot any closer to coming back? Who knows
Every now and again, I remember Pop,
that
and I
he
just I'm
exists?
like, oh yeah,
Your
he
guy.
just dude. I haven't seen him like in training.
I haven't heard anything about it. I haven't read anything about him. Like,
When they like talk about, I guess like
because a couple weeks ago they were
sometimes
saying
he
he
isn't
could have
even
been.
like
He would have.
sometimes he
They
isn't
thought
even
he'd be
like
back.
listed as like being out because like he's not even like really an option, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I remember like a couple weeks ago, like, oh, he might be fit for like the League Cup games. I'm like, oh, that's a pleasant surprise.
Well, that
Okay.
didn't happen.
And then that just didn't happen.
Yeah, it's
Which
now
was
been.
fine. Which was
I,
fine.
I think it was New Year's Day.
It was like he's on the
Or
comeback
January
trail.
2nd, he posted his cleats that he was like back. That was like 28 days ago. That was a month ago.
Bro's on some fucking Jeremiah St. Juice
I
shit.
mean, what is his injury, dude?
I mean, that's obviously it's something that it's
Torn quad or something?
I'm wondering if it's just something that like it's like if it's like a quad or
It's
a
a muscular
hamstring.
injury, right? Like a calf or quad or something.
That's what I'm assuming. It's like a calf, a quad, or a hamstring.
I
Where
mean, it must be.
because you're doing so much
He must have
running, it just
torn.
doesn't
I mean, he's been out
turn.
for 3
Month
months.
since November.
Yeah, I
October?
mean,
Yeah,
he must have torn it. I wonder if he had surgery. Like,
maybe.
Jesus,
I feel like we heard about
they're not
that.
always like fully transparent with that kind of stuff. I'll be honest.
I feel like but I feel like that would have leaked.
It's kind of crazy because like in American sports, it's like illegal to not like be transparent about that kind of stuff.
Unless you're in the NHL and they won't tell you shit.
NHL's hilarious because they're like, yeah, he has a lower body injury. It's like,
but that could mean like 80 different
what do you
things.
mean a lower? Like that's half of your body. That could be literally.
That's the same. NHL's the same. It's like upper body. I'm like, well, that could mean he's got like a hangnail or
in the NFL. They have to like specifically say their injuries.
Yeah, NHL's hilarious because it's like, well, he has an upper body injury. It's like, well, that could be like he's got a sore
and
wrist,
this is just like if Ray Cord gets the scoop,
or he's got like a grade 2 concussion and he can't play. Like, what's the injury here?
Upper body injury. Could be a head injury.
Could be anything.
It could be a shoulder injury.
Ribs, abdomen, elbow, wrist, like literally anything. They're so vague. I implore anybody to go through, like, just start following ice hockey, and you're going to be astonished at the amount of secrecy that there is in that sport in terms of injuries. It's the funniest thing. You just won't know what's wrong with it. Guys will be out for like half a season. You just won't know what's wrong with them. And that's where this is starting to get. That's where this is starting to veer into. It's okay, something's up because he's been out for too long to not know what it is.
Yeah.
And like surely it would have leaked by now.
Yeah, I don't. It's really weird.
Oh, Lord. But yeah, so we'll keep an eye on Pot. Any news and notes that we need to get to today, Chris? We do want to shout the handball boys. They beat Germany today at the World Cup. They're into the semifinals for the first time. So shout out to them. We know there's a couple Sporting boys on there.
They know who they're playing, don't they?
I think so.
I forget who it is, though.
They're playing one of the teams at the World Cup. I can probably check for you right now. I'm
trying to think if there's any other. Is there any? I mean, the transfer window is kind of. It feels like it's closing quietly across Europe. Like,
yeah, there's been no big.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really feel like there's like a mad dash. I mean, maybe it'll pick up tomorrow, but I don't know. It's kind of feels kind of quiet. There hasn't been that much major business either.
Yeah, they will play Denmark, by the way. They play Denmark on the 31st, so they have tomorrow off. So just wanted to shout out that if you're following the handball boys. There's really been no from anybody, not just us. Like, there's really nothing, like, rumors-wise. The only rumor I saw was we were interested in someone from Uniel de Leiria, like a winger for, like, 2 mil, which feels like another questionable money laundering transfer. I feel like that's our yearly... I feel like every January we make a questionable, like, money laundering-esque transfer, and I feel like that's just the guy. But it's for significantly less than it typically is. Usually it's, like, 5-6 million. He's, like, 2 million. I'm like, oh, man, that's nothing. That's cheap.
Sometimes it's less than sometimes it's only like 500K. Yeah. I mean,
what was the guy from second division last year, Pontello? He was like a mil or like 800 some K.
Yeah, bro. He then just disappeared
into the void, into the nether. I forgot about
dude. When I went and saw Sporting, he started.
Yeah,
I think I saw his only start.
His only start for the beat, man. Where you'll tell your kids about that one day. Tell your kids that one. I got to see Rafael Pontello's first and only game for Sporting. Good on you. That's crazy. That's unbelievable. Mike, that's so funny. So they have been linked to, and I don't have the name in front of me. I'm not going to speak to what I know or think about this player because I just don't have the knowledge, and I'm just not going to disrespect.
Which one, the Leiria player?
The Leiria guy. I'm just not going to disrespect our audience by speaking on something we have and someone we have zero knowledge about.
I mean, is he even supposed to be a reinforcement for the main team?
I have no clue. I have no clue. Like, that's the thing. Like, it's been it was such a just a random. They're looking at this guy from Leiria for 2 mil, and it's like, oh. Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, all right. Cool.
Vando Felix hasn't really panned out. He was a similar type of acquisition. 2 million from Lesoin, second tier.
Was not it. He was not the truth.
Let's see if he's got it.
Nope.
If he's got it, he'll quickly rise to the B team and be in the seniors probably by the end of the
season. In no time.
Yeah, it's been like 2-3 years now. He's nowhere near the senior.
That was not the case. That was not the case, ladies and gentlemen.
We'll see.
Yeah, that's cheap. It's cheap money.
Speaking of Sporting B,
Our boy,
They
iPad
finally
boy.
did it.
They're
Top
going to
4.
promotion playoffs.
Not
baby.
fighting for relegation for the first time in the new format.
We used to pray for times like these. iPad boys, Wall Pineda getting the job done with the B team.
Yes.
So they will be in the promotion fight over the next like couple months. I think it is now. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know I don't know how many times they play all those
So
teams.
now we merge with the North to create.
Oh, the two conferences merge
Create
and
a
everybody.
new 10-team table.
So they'll play
Which will then of the new
okay.
10-team table will create 4, which will then play again. And
they'll do a play. It's like multiple weird playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay, so
But made it to round 2.
They got the first one.
I lied. It's 8 because it was 4 and 4. So it's 8. It's 8.
Okay, so 8 teams, and they'll whittle it down to 4 who will go into I remember the knockout playoff format. That's right. Yeah. Okay, so they'll play 14 games to then try to get to the Final 4.
Yep.
So they got a 1 in 8 chance of, well, actually, no, more than that. They just got to get into the top 4.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. That's good to know. Yeah, I saw that over the weekend that Jumbo Joao got the boys dub.
They were losing 2-1 on the road to Lusitania.
They were
needed a point and got an 85th minute equalizer.
Crazy. They needed the point. They got
nice goal. Nice goal too.
I respect it.
Shout out to Strompcast, I guess, who briefly left his team.
His hollowed
left them hanging, and they had a very bad stretch. He actually left in the middle of the bad stretch, and then the bad stretch continued.
And then he came back, and all was
well. Then he came back, and then when he came back, it's when it slightly turned around, and they did enough to get over the line.
They did nothing. They didn't do nothing.
I think they got through on either by 1 point or on goal difference. It was very tight. It was very
they got
tight.
through. They got through. It's all.
Bologna also got into the top 4 as well. So
I'm rooting for them. I'm rooting for Bologna to go.
Same with Strompcast, another team that's been up in the Segunda and Primera.
Yeah.
A couple teams.
There's a couple teams. I know Academica, the Coimbra just missed out. Sucks. I was looking at a post on Reddit the other day, and it was like all the teams. It's like, man, if they had all like the historic teams, like man, like Stuball's down there, Beta Mars down there,
Stuball's like basically dead.
Yeah, I'm looking at all these teams, like Beta Mars down there, Stuball.
They got kind of liquidated.
A little bit. Blananch is down there. Olhanense, Trofense.
Yeah, Olhanense is
Coimbra, like all these teams, like Shoys.
I mean, even Union Leiria is like them getting back to the third has been like a comeback, but I mean, they were once in the first, you know.
Yeah, I remember them being in the first, like not that long, like long enough ago, but like man,
yeah,
that's the thing. Like I remember those were like the teams that were always kind of there. Now like your yo-yo teams is like Rio Ave and Wooded Ants and stuff, and I'm like, man, I remember when playing FIFA 5 and like Penafiel was in the league. Like
finally, bro, like when we like I'm trying to think of the last time they were in the first division, maybe 2008.
More.
10
I think 2005.
at the latest.
Penafiel longer.
Yeah.
2000. I remember them. I remember playing with Penafiel in FIFA 2000
because they went down around that time and they never came back. But they also never went down further.
Yeah,
they've been in the second division for like probably 15 years straight.
They've been.
And they're finally in first. They're finally in first.
You know who's another team? Because Danny
like Sporting, a lot of campeonato left, but. They're in great position.
You know who's a team that I forgot about because Danny mentioned them, and I don't know whatever happened. I think they don't exist anymore. Is Naval? Whatever happened to Naval? They got liquidated. I think they're done. I don't think they ever even came back.
Naval Primade Mayu. R.I.P. They had bootleg Sporting kits.
Yeah, big bootleg Sporting kits, but we moved. I'm just thinking back, like all the teams when I was like growing up and like playing FIFA, like man, those teams are all like dead or dying. That's crazy. Like go back and if you have like an old FIFA, like I implore you, go back and boot up like if you have like FIFA 07 or FIFA 05 or something. You're like, man, like half these teams have either been liquidated and had to restart, or like some of them don't even exist.
Or if they do exist, they're in like the third division.
They're like in the third, or they're in the districts, like
Bologna.
They're like Campeonato de Portugal, like which is basically just Div 4, like Beta Mar and shit, like crazy. Portuguese football's crazy. No other news and notes, no real modalidad stuff that I can think of, Chris. Anything that we're missing?
Ladies won like 9-0 or
Against who?
10-0 or something like that. They have had 2 games now in the last 2 weeks that have been just insane scoreline.
What's the standings for? Actually, I'll pull them up.
The first absolutely ridiculous obliteration, which I think actually hit double digits, like 11-0 maybe, was a lower league team. So that's a bit more understandable. But the latest win,
they're 3 points behind.
The latest win, which I think was 9-0. I mean, that was against the first division team, so I have less of an excuse for them there.
9-0 against Vila Verde. Taça Liga was 6-0 against Demiense. But they've been obliterating teams for the most part.
From double-digit win in there.
6-1. This one was a quarterfinal second leg where they lost.
So here's the thing: Braga has been absolutely tanking. So if you look at the standings,
I'm about to go back to them.
They were in front of us.
Yeah, they were. Look at the gap we've opened up on Braga.
And now they're in 8 points back.
Yeah, I remember Braga being in front.
Yeah.
Look at that gap. Oh my god.
Yeah, they've just kind of fall. I mean, it doesn't take much. It just takes like 3 games, right?
It takes like 2 bad weeks.
Yeah, and that can happen. But yeah, it's become a 2-horse race, I would say.
Yeah, they're only 3 points behind Benfica, but look at the goal scores and goals against. We're 49 to their 41-4 and 5 to their 7 against. Look at the goal there, 44 to 34.
Spamming goal. I mean, a quarter of those goals were scored in the last 3 weeks.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow, they're only 3 points back, and they're dominating.
We play them
once more
at the Lose in the coming weeks, because I've seen Hannah Siebert posting about it on her Instagram.
Yeah, they usually do a game or two.
So I know that and that's also why I know the games at the Lose. It might even be this coming weekend. Wait, we just had it up.
I'll pull it back up 1 second. Let me open the tab back. Liga BPI. If I could type, that would be phenomenal. Sporting. Let me go to Sporting's match schedule here. 1 sec. They do play Benfica. They play Benfica this Saturday at noon.
There you go.
So that is a chance to tie them and
I don't leapfrog them.
Well, I don't know what the first tiebreaker is, if it's head-to-head or goal difference.
Yeah, I think did we draw or did we lose? I don't remember. Yeah, but I'm not sure what the tiebreaker is anyway.
Yeah, I don't know because everybody does it differently.
What time? Noon our time? Or noon their time?
Noon our time.
Watchable. Let's go.
I might tune that in or try to get on the radio or something because I'm traveling with my girlfriend, so I'll try to get a hold of that though.
Definitely of interest. The seniors don't play Saturday, so
No, they play like I said, nice and early on a Sunday. I love having weekends.
You'll never get a noon Saturday sporting game. It's like impossible.
Like a 1 o'clock Sunday is.
That's Prem games in America on the East Coast are usually 10 is the kickoff.
It's usually like 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah, we'll never get it. Imagine it's 10 a.m.
You might get like one game at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon or 3, the odd time, depending on the schedule. But yeah, it's almost always in the morning. And then I always find the Portuguese League games are like from noon onwards.
I mean, how crazy is it for the game to kick off at 2 p.m. Portugal time? Is that insane?
Apparently. A little bit. It feels like it.
But yeah. So that'll never happen. Sometimes I think it's funny that I see Segunda Liga games are kicking off at 6 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is 11 a.m. Portuguese time.
Yeah, because I woke up on
Sunday.
I woke up on Sunday and threw on my my Amazon Fire Stick, completely legal by the way. And yeah, there was just like Segunda Liga games on, so I forget who I was. I think I put on like a Ladia game or something on Saturday or Sunday. But yeah, I'm like. They're always like I know those games are almost always early,
I mean 11 a.m. I mean I guess that's like just so early.
yeah, like 11 a.m. here. I'm like, man, like sure.
Yeah,
when
it
those
doesn't feel
games
that
start.
crazy. If I have
Yeah.
my game kicks off at 11, I'm like, damn, that's late. We got a late game this weekend.
Yeah. But yeah, I was looking. I'm like, oh, it's like 8, 9 o'clock, and there's games on. Let me throw it on because there's no English games I want to watch today. Sweet, like
Hell yeah, lady, baby.
Ladia. I think that was the game I had on at one point. Was the Ladia game early afternoon or late morning?
No, dude, it couldn't have been their League of Three. I think, dude, if I'm not mistaken, was it Oli Vidence this past weekend? Because I feel like that might have been the early game.
Maybe.
Because I remember seeing it on my watch because I was just scrolling through scores.
Yeah, I don't remember. I feel like that's who I was probably watching at some point. Was a the Lady game of some.
Because sometimes the League of Three games are on YouTube as well, which is
the Federation and the League of Three YouTube will put on games.
Yeah.
Randomly on YouTube for free, and I know Sportive does show a few a week as well.
Yeah, same with
cool.
Canal Owens plays League of Three.
Canal Owens usually plays a couple. Same with the women; they'll show the women's
and
games.
then Sport TV has League of Two. Yeah.
Yeah, so usually you get like a decent chunk of those games. Like you can watch at least a couple if you're following that for whatever your team, which support your local club if you can. Yeah, usually there's like between like 3 and 6 games I think on some form of television in Portugal.
I'm trying to think of any other modality results. I think
basketball, football, anything.
Hockey lost.
Yikes.
To Benfica.
And now they did. Yeah.
And now they play Porto this weekend.
Ooh,
so
that's not fun.
Tough, tough midweek weekend matchup.
Not
see if
fun.
they can stop the bleeding.
Yeah.
And basketball
lost. Did they lose? That wouldn't shock me. They've not been good.
They played Porto. I think it.
Yeah. They also have the playoffs, so like all you gotta do is get it, and you can change your fortunes in a heartbeat. But
handball is away, and futsal won, and Benfica tied. So we were tied with them. So now we got a 2-point lead,
2-point gap on them. Okay, so 1 game.
Which again, like you said, playoff. I hate to say it, but it's kind of always the case. We know who's going to be in the final. Does it really
typically
matter?
you have an idea.
What we're playing for is who hosts Game 5.
Yeah, who gets home court basically.
Who gets home court in Game 5, which it usually inevitably goes to. Sometimes, but I got something to say about that. Not this season. I don't. For a while. I don't see it. But you never know.
And until Porto gets a futsal team.
So, 2-point lead for 1 seed, I suppose. It's not
cool,
anything so crazy, but it's good. It's better than not happening, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think we've covered everything. So yeah, you can follow us down below. Check us out, like and subscribe if you like what you see. Follow myself down below. Follow Sam.
Oh, that's not even the.
That's the old boy. That's
a
okay.
Good one.
That's all good. Technical difficulties. We're having tech issues before this even, so we're all good. Make sure you check us out on social.
Got it now.
Yeah, check me out down below on X, Twitter, whatever. We may be migrating soon. Who knows?
X the everything app.
That's X is the everything app. There's Sam down below as well. Follow Chris and follow Danny.
As always, you gotta follow.
Sam and Danny couldn't be here. Sam, of course, was in Bologna. Sam was in Lisboa today to watch a game. Probably got rained on like crazy. He brought the rain with that British weather.
Yeah, I mean, no matter what, he was walking after the game to get.
He was getting wet.
To get the subway. There's no way he stayed dry the whole time.
Yeah, and that boy was getting wet.
If he did, commendable effort, lad.
Good for you. I want to know what.
Can't wait to hear the stories of the travels.
Yeah, well, I'm sure. I imagine Sam will be back with us next week, so we'll have to ask him some stories and his take on the in-game experience. Follow us down below, all things Alvalade at AT Alvalade as well. Right now we're on X. That's where everything is. Like we said, if that ever changes, we'll let you know.
You'll be the first to know.
You'll be the first to know. You'll be the second to know because we'll be the first to know. But yeah, you, the audience, will be the second to know. No worries. Thank you very much for joining us. As always, like, share, subscribe. We'll be back next week. Viva Sporting.